I get it. You're staring at a stack of legal briefs, architectural plans, or a mountain of receipts and wondering if splurging on a high-end scanner is really worth it. You don't want to end up with a piece of equipment that sits half filled with paper, takes forever to feed, or forces you to keep sending files back and forth because the quality is off. That hesitation is exactly what made me pause before I started looking into the Xerox DocuMate 4830. If you want to check the product details on Amazon, link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through why this particular model might be the right or wrong choice for you before you commit any cash. First off, the DocuMate 4830 sits in a pretty specific niche of document scanners. It's not a tiny US plug-and-play gadget you'd toss on a coffee table. Instead, it's a full-size, A3 capable flatbed with a 75-sheet automatic document feeder, ADF. In plain language, that means it can handle legal-size contracts, blueprints, or even oversized photos without you having to manually place each sheet on the glass. If you've ever tried to scan a 13 by 19-inch art print on a standard letter-size scanner, you know the frustration of either cutting the image or getting a tiny, pixelated version. The DocuMate eliminates that problem right out of the gate. Now, let's talk speed. Xerox advertises 30 pages per minute, ppm, in color and 60 images per minute, IPM, for duplex scanning at 300 dpi. For most office environments, that translates to a single-sided contract being in the system in about 2 seconds, and a double-sided set in roughly the same time thanks to the simultaneous front and back feed. In my own experience with a small legal practice, the bottleneck used to be the scanner. A clerk would spend 5 to 10 minutes feeding each stack of documents one by one. Switching to a machine that can gulp through a 75-sheet batch in under a minute cut that time by more than half and freed up the clerk to focus on reviewing content instead of feeding paper. Who should actually consider buying this? If you're running a law firm, an architectural studio, a tax consultancy, or any business that routinely handles large format or high-volume paperwork, the DocuMate 4830 hits the sweet spot. Its A3 flatbed is a game-changer for anyone who needs to digitize plans, posters, or any document that exceeds the typical 8.511-inch size. The robust feeder means you can leave a stack of invoices or contracts to run unattended while you move on to the next task. The 3-year warranty that comes with the unit also adds peace of mind for businesses that can't afford frequent downtime. On the flip side, if you're a solo freelancer who only scans a few receipts a month, or a home office that mainly deals with standard letter-size paperwork, this scanner is probably overkill. The physical footprint of the machine, roughly the size of a small printer, means you need dedicated desk space. For people with cramped home setups, that can feel like a luxury you don't actually need. Moreover, the 300 dpi maximum is perfectly adequate for text and most graphics. But if you're in a field that requires archival-grade resolution, think fine art reproductions or detailed engineering schematics, you'll quickly run into the limitation. In those cases, a scanner that pushes 600 dpi or higher would be a better fit, even if it means sacrificing the A3 flatbed. Let's dig into the practical strengths beyond the headline numbers. One thing that often trips up new owners is driver installation. Xerox includes a full suite of Windows drivers and an optional Twain interface, and the installation wizard walks you through setting default scan profiles. In real use, I found that the legal size batch preset saved me a step. I could load a stack of 30-page contracts, hit scan, and the software automatically named the files with a timestamp and stored them in a pre-chosen folder on the network drive. That kind of automation is the hidden value that makes a scanner worth its price tag: less manual renaming, less chance of misfiling. Another practical win is the way the DocuMate handles mixed media feeds. The ADF isn't fussy about paper thickness. You can scan a combination of thin receipts, standard letter paper, and even heavier cardstock in the same run without triggering frequent jams. In an office where we sometimes need to capture both a signed contract on heavy paper and an accompanying set of receipts on thin paper, that flexibility saved us from constantly resorting the stack. However, there are a couple of trade-offs worth noting. The scanner's glass surface is sizable, which is great for large documents, but it also means you have to keep it clean. Dust or a stray smudge can show up in the scanned image, especially when you're working at 300 dpi where small imperfections become visible. The unit does come with a cleaning cloth, but you'll find yourself wiping it down more often than you would a smaller scanner. Also, because the machine is built for throughput, the fan inside can be audibly louder than a typical office printer. In a quiet environment, say, a small law office where